Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you game 2 in a I believe it's a best of 3 series, hopefully I am not mistaken. Game 2 in a series between Grubby and Dimaga here on Antigua Shipyard. This is the MLG version of the map, so it does force cross spawns. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, just because it does open up for a lot more cheese play. It doesn't really seem balanced, at least for me, as Zerg players really have to be on the lookout for any proxy pylons. A proxy pylon down over here, and then a gateway here and here could just spell absolute doom, as zealots will be running straight inside your base, especially if you tried to go for a fast hatchery. But then again, you could easily move out and scout it out as well. Now, interestingly enough, Grubby going for the old school build, not doing a forge fast expand, and this shows me that Grubby may be doing a little bit more of a tech build. Now, Antigua Shipyard really beneficial and really strong for Zerg players in general, as Zerg players have an easy second and a semi-close high ground easy third that is not blocked by destructible rocks. So if the Protoss player or if their opponent are able to go for a very fast expansion, the Zerg doesn't have to use Zerglings in order to clear out rocks and try to take another expansion there. Grubby quickly coming in. He knows that it is going to be a full cross spawn. Apparently Dimaga doesn't know that it is a full cross spawn location map here, as the Overlord slowly making his way off to the north. Now, in this series, spoiler alert, Grubby is currently up 1-0, and we'll see how Grubby follows up after the victory on Tall Dream Altar. Assimilator now warping in as well, quickly transferring over 3 probes. Pretty standard build. Second pylon followed by a cybernetic score. Meanwhile, Grubby once again coming in with that probe, doing a bit of harassment, and Dimaga able to push that probe just a little bit away and getting that hatchery down. All important 27 or what 20 about 30 to 40 seconds earlier, and that is going to definitely help Dimaga, as he's going to be able to get a stronger economic lead if he does train even more queens. One queen being trained, a second queen most likely will be trained and transferred over as well. A drone getting zapped a little bit, as the Zerglings now able to chase away that one probe. Probe should be able to make it away. Slowly gonna take some damage, as those Zerglings do not yet have metabolic boost. So it looks like we are going to be going into a gasless build for a while. Dimaga going to focus on getting up a very strong economy and using queens in order to fend off any serious harassment whatsoever. Grubby, on the other hand, going into a very fast very fast double gas, no expansion yet, and this Zergling will be able to scout this out, interestingly enough. So that's going to be interesting, as a zealot able to take it down with the help of a probe. Nicely done there, as the probe now gonna perhaps do a little bit more scouting once more. The Nexus was not spotted down over here, and with nothing up on the high ground, and now going into perhaps a 3-gate right now. Right now we are up to 3 gates. I do not see a 4th gateway as of yet. There is no chrono boosting going on that cybernetic score, interestingly enough. So I'm not exactly sure what Grubby plans to do. Stalker and Zealot making its way out. A very strong tag team duo in the early portion of the game. As you can see that the Zerglings are attempting to run away, gonna get a little bit of damage there. Are we gonna have a sentry on the ramp? So it looks like that one Zergling going to take a little bit of damage, and going to be down to 25 hit points, and now in comes a sentry, and now gonna zap away the Zergling down to 2 hit points, and one more shot should do it. There it goes. There is a proxy pylon already set up by Grubby in a very unassuming location, but very close to his opponent's base. We'll be able to warp in units straight here, perhaps even take down these destructible rocks in order to continue that push. Dimaga now sitting on 32 drones compared to 28 probes, and Grubby doing a 3-gate expand now, so he's not going to really be following this up with any serious pressure. 36 drones compared to 29, as we are definitely going into a macro hatch from Dimaga, so 3 hatcheries off of 2 bases, and that is going to help support Dimaga's style of a lot of roaches and Zerglings. as you're really more larva limited than anything else. More units are being reinforced over here. You can see a lot of sentries being added, 7 sentries, and that is a large number of sentries, and sentries do not have that high of a DPS, but they are able to warp, or they are able to place down those force fields. And interesting enough, in come the Zerglings. Zerglings may perhaps try to get a little bit of a force field surround. Grubby able to back off. Grubby taking a lot of damage on that Stalker, and that was a bit of a weird play, as Grubby should be trying to push back with those drones. Not quite sure where that force field goes down. Finally getting a force field there, and now one more force field there. Drones are stuck, and now getting in some easy early kills. A probe was up on that high ground, but unable to warp in any units there, as Grubby is now gonna once again block some Zerglings on the ramp, and this has got to be very, very careful. Grubby wants to make sure to get some force fields down and make sure that those Zerglings are not able to really engage. In comes a Queen though, and the Queen gonna be able to start destroying this, as the Zealots are gonna get taken down. A Queen may get taken down over here, down to 31 hit points, 32. And now Roach is finally out, and it looks like this harassment may be coming to an end. Grubby highly favoring a lot of units now. Are we going to get another force field? Yes, another force field on the ramp, and Dimaga is in a bit of trouble. He has lost a lot of workers so far, 31, but a sea of Zerglings and Roaches will be coming in. No, not going to be coming in as well at all, as another round of sentries able to come in. And wow, what a huge play, as sentries just overrunning the position. Roaches, one nice round of spawn larva from those Roaches. 5 Roaches about to engage, and this is going to be very bad day. Not quite sure why the Roaches didn't just try to snipe down that pylon here from the high ground, as the Roaches and Zerglings are giving a little bit of a chase. Another force field coming in, but Grubby may have overstayed his welcome, and now going to lose a little bit more units. The sentries, which are very expensive, may get destroyed, but no, the Roaches do not have movement speed upgrades either. Focusing down a easy Roach, but at the cost of a sentry. Not a good exchange at all, as those Roaches now scamper across the map. Dimaga looking to follow this up with even more units. Dimaga with a much larger army now, and going to continue to chase up this ramp. Grubby does not have nearly as much to defend, as the Roaches are going to be able to perhaps snipe down some of those very expensive units. Zealot's going to try to get in some damage. In come some force fields, and Dimaga does overextends himself and loses a couple more units as well. Let's take a look at the losses. The losses are fairly even. Harvester count, 39 probes compared to 27 drones, as Roaches now once again reinforcing. Dimaga is getting in a round of drones now, gonna get in some additional gas. Not quite sure why he's going for extra gas. He's already banking over 300. He is really more resource limited, as I completely missed the start of that fight. So let's go ahead and see what's gonna be happening. Roaches do not have burrow, and now Zergling's going to charge up the ramp as well. Roach is now pushing in. No force fields in time. The sentry's unable to do anything. There's the force fields finally. Zergling's not doing very much at all, as sentries are getting sniped down rather quickly. In comes a photon cannon. It looks like one photon cannon will get taken down very quickly. A second photon cannon may get... oh, that's just a pylon there, as the Stalkers are now needing to try to figure out what to do against these mass Roaches. 6 Stalkers against 8 Roaches. The Roaches, however, able to take down Zealots as they're warping in. And now those Roaches finally pushing their way through and focus firing, but Dimaga has to be a little bit careful, otherwise he's going to have a little bit of a bad day. Another Stalker may get taken down. There it goes, but no reinforcements, and now 26 Zerglings being added. Level 1 weapons upgrade about to be, or should be completed soon. Infestation pit now being added, so it makes sense why Dimaga went for that early gas, or this earlier gas now. And if he gets burrow, that might be an even more deadly combination, as he would be able to burrow up onto the high ground, move into this location here, and then just drop a whole bunch of infested Terrans to deal a lot of damage, as long as he's outside the sight range of this photon cannon. Robotics facility being added over here. One Zealot a little out of position, getting swarmed by a sea of Zerglings, as a drone now will grow up and be a hatchery. Pathogen glands, this is exactly what I wanted to see from Dimaga in the last game. Last game, he was banking on 3,000 gas. Really high-level Grandmaster players should not ever have that much resources unless they are at max food. And by showing that he had so much gas in that matchup, he wasn't really he wasn't really spending his resources very well. 3,000 gas is a whole bunch of infestors. Burrowed play works out very well. Roach is now getting the glial reconstitution. No burrow upgrades. So glial reconstitution and pathogen glands. All of those infestors will have 75 energy to start, as an evolution chamber also being added as well. Protoss ground armor rounding out, I believe, or getting that second upgrade as well. Not quite sure when we are going to see, or if we're ever going to see, shield upgrades until patch 142 comes out, as roaches are now being added as well. So we'll see how this is all going to work out. Harvester count is fairly even, or not fairly even, exactly even at 49 apiece, as the infestors are now moving across the field. Infestors moving significantly slower than previously there. So 2.25, and those Zerglings do tend to get ahead of them just a little bit more, as we now see Zerglings back over here, and now a Zealot on patrol, making sure that there is not another base. One Zealot now fighting against a sea of Zerglings. Roaches are going to engage, and now the infestors maybe perhaps get off a fungal growth. There's a fungal growth, and chain fungal growths could be coming in. Another fungal growth hitting green stalkers. So hard to see when there is fungal growth. Perhaps that animation could be a little bit better. But as the infestors are now slowly pushing their way forward, one pylon will get destroyed really easily there, as the infestors are moving out. And are we going to get more fungals? No more fungals. Nice force fields coming down, as the roaches attempting to take down these destructible rocks have the benefit of those force fields, knowing that no units will be able to come in. And now more roaches being added. That glial reconstitution, so powerful, allowing those roaches to move so quickly across the ramp. You can see that these two sentries are not going to be able to do very much, as it does take, I believe, 3 to 4 force fields in order to block that ramp completely. Roaches now backing off. Harvester count 65, and now still sitting on a large amount of gas, 600 gas. More roaches being added. There is one observer in this group as well, no overseer nearby. And now, interestingly enough, Grubby still has this proxy pylon, and perhaps he could do a bit of proxy pylon play in order to execute and get in some damage. Sentries, I believe, where the photon cannon was able to get a kill up on a Zergling that tried to walk up that ramp. And now in comes this battle here. Roaches, in comes some fungal growths. Infestors trying to run away. Another fungal growth hitting, but no burrow at all, and a very nice corralling force fields trapping those roaches in. And Dimaga is in trouble, but roaches once again coming back into the midfield. This is not looking good. A much larger army by Grubby, as Grubby now pushing his way across the map. Roaches are definitely retreating here. More roaches being added, and overlords now spewing creep in order to get a faster movement speed upgrade, but the roaches are only upgraded 1-0. Zealots are now knocking on this back door, as I mentioned earlier. Stalkers are going to be able to just simply destroy this. And unless Dimaga executes his next build execute this next phase absolutely perfectly, this is going to be very bad news, as Zerglings are now going to perhaps try to swarm around, get some damage here. There are a lot of stalkers on the low ground. In come the force fields, not enough of them, as the Zerglings were able to retreat. Burrows hasn't been researched. There are some Mutalisks. Dark Shrine being added as well, so Dark Templars, DTs, definitely in the future as well. Spine crawlers being added, so 4 spine crawlers on the front door. And as long as Grubby doesn't overstep and does not walk into a trap, he should be fine, as he is even on bases. But Mutalisks now flying across the far side of the map, and is the Zealot going to spot it is the key question, and it looks like yes, it is going to spot it if he's very careful, and if Grubby is watching the minimap. The Stalkers do see it, and now they are going to try to retreat. Stalkers are warping in on the backfield as well. That is going to be 10 Mutalisks, but it's not going to be enough to really do anything at all, as Grubby now taking the gold mineral patches in the center of the field. One proxy pylon. Oh, Stalker's able to blink straight into that group. One Mutalisk gets taken down there. Nicely done, Grubby, keeping track of the minimap, knowing that Mutalisk harassment was in the near future. And we'll see what will come up next. One Zergling hiding off over here. Army compositions, Grubby much larger still, much larger army in terms of total resources, even on food. And taking a look at that, yeah, so just a high cost of Protoss units really benefiting Grubby at this stage. He has less food, and he has a larger army and more probes as well. Back over here, gateways finishing off this wall in here as the Mutalisks are going to perhaps just snipe down one of these proxy pylons, but there are a lot. Oh, now merging in Archons, Stalkers coming in, able to shoot back and destroy many of those Mutalisks. Dimaga is sitting on a very, very high food count, 193. Is it going to be enough as those Dark Archons are going to be able to walk up that ramp and deal so much damage? The very, very heavy splash, no Colossi in the group, but Archons getting those kills up already. 4 kills. Archons are getting focused down. Roaches now trying to push along the backside here. Mutalisks coming in from the skies as well. And is it going to be enough? Roaches continuing this push. Those Stalkers are kind of surrounded. They really don't have anywhere to go, and this is going to be a really, really bad position as soon as those force fields come to an end. Spine Crawlers are now being rerouted up top, and Dimaga, I do not think those Spine Crawlers will be able to route in time at all. Production doesn't show very much as Grubby looks like he will be able to finish this off. Spine Crawlers taking a lot of damage, and now it looks like a couple of Spine Crawlers still able to get even more. Dimaga somehow holding this attack off. But Dimaga just not getting in very good trades at all. Now down 5,000 resources as there are even more Stalkers warping in for Grubby. So Grubby really coming out ahead, and Dimaga says GG. So Dimaga losing game 2 in what I thought was a best-of-3 series. I may not be. I wish they actually said how many on the replay sites, what the series numbers was. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I may have cast the games out of order. There is another game to cast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.